So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to a brand new episode of Is It That Bad, where we take a look at an album that maybe was bad or got mixed reviews, and we listen to it again so you don't have to, and then we give you our verdict. So, you know the drill, we have 3 rounds. The first round is our first impressions when we listen to this album, even if it was a few days ago or 20 years ago or 25 years ago when this album came out. Then we had the second round, sorry, where we give our 3 or 4 picks of songs that are not as great. And then the third round, we vote. So in this episode, we're going to talk about a band that, is one of the big four of thrash metal, and it's Megadeth with Risk from 1999. And this album actually turns 25 years old this year. So again, I'm joined by JC Rock and Metal Reviews. JC, how are you?
Doing good, thanks.
And for this episode, we have 2 members of different thrash metal bands. We have Justin Roth from Workers, and we have Mark from Electrocutioner. How are you guys? Both bands put out albums last year, so check them out. So we're here to talk about this album, that's turning 25. And I picked this album because it's an album that has always been very controversial, or it has mixed reviews for Megadeth. So let's start with the first round. So JC, what are your initial thoughts when you listen to Risk by Megadeth?
Okay, so this one came out in the middle of 1999. I actually didn't listen to it when it came out. I was kind of like had other stuff going on back then. But I listened to it the first time, I think, whenever like streaming started years later. I like listened to it, and I kind of went into it like knowing that it was going to be like one of those like 90s albums, because pretty much every thrash band kind of like changed their sound pretty much. But I think this band kind of like took it to the extreme. I think it was called Risk because they wanted to, take a risk, and they like really did. So the thing with Megadeth, I think like they've always kind of like been in the shadow of Metallica. So Metallica releases the Black Album, they start to change their sound with the Countdown to Extinction. That's a great album, maybe one of their best. But then Euthanasia, they kind of like toned it down a little bit, went more to a rock sound. Then Cryptic Writings, that was kind of more like a Black Album, and then this one they kind of like took it further to the point where it's not even like a metal album. I wouldn't even say it's a rock album. It's not. I think like the first 2 songs would be metal, like Insomnia and Prince of Darkness. That has a little metal on it, but everything after that, it's pretty much just like alternative rock. So I think people hate it because it's not thrash and it's not really even a metal album. But I think it's I I thought it wasn't bad because I kind of knew what I was getting into. I mean, there is some when we go through our tracks, there's some cheese on here, but otherwise there's some good stuff. And so that's all I'll say for now. But I think it's just like I think with this album you have to kind of go into it like knowing that it's just a very different type of album.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yes.
I was reading on Wikipedia that actually he named the album Risk because Lars Ulrich told him that Megadeth didn't take enough risk, and I don't know if that's true because it's Wikipedia. But if that's true, like man, like he's always being Lars' bitch. Like if Lars told him, "Oh, you gotta be more risky," then you change your sound. Come on, man. Like he has like a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and Lars Ulrich is like 5 feet tall. Like how can you be afraid of him? But yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, just a fun fact for you guys. So Justin, what are did you listen to this when it came out?
I did. I hated it when it came out, and I think I hate it even more now. This thing did not age well. It's an album with an identity crisis for sure. You have everything from like blues, country, rock to like the weird like when we get into the tracks, but there's like some Depeche Mode sounding moments. If you listen to the god awful remix that Dave bestowed upon us, you're treated to like that weird jock jam remix at the end. I don't know what that's all about with like the goofy techno beat. I mean, this thing's all over the place. Megadeth to me, even when they gave you a bad album historically, there would be two, three redeeming tracks on every bad album. Like Endgame, you got Head Crusher, Cryptic Writing, you got Trust and She Wolf. There was always something good, and this is like the single exception to that rule. I think going into it, it's 99, so you have to take that into consideration. Traditional metal was like all the way in the toilet, like JC said. Bands were gelling their hair and trying to sound like Stained or whatever fucking terrible shit was popular at the time. A lot of eyebrow rings, a lot of fucking labret piercings and shit happening. So this sounds like that. It just sounds awful. Um, I think, to contrast it to Load and Reload, I think objectively, like if you go into those albums expecting Metallica, you're going to be let down. No different than you'll be let down here. But I think those albums, if you take them out of context and you just look at them as like, is this objectively like good or bad album? I think that they can kind of pass the sniff test, where I think this thing just failed miserably.
Yeah, I know what you mean because this came out in '99, so it kind of sounds like it's like he's trying to do what Metallica did in Load and Reload, because they had a few country songs, but James Hetfield's voice kind of goes with when he does that country thing on Mama Said or Hero of the Day. It sounds good, but Dave Mustaine's voice, no, it doesn't go with that sound to me. So yeah, that's a good point, Justin. So Mark, what about you, my man? Did you listen to this way back in 1999?
I don't think I listened to it in '99, but I think I caught it in like 2001, I would say. So I've been into metal my whole life, but like Megadeth actually was like the band that blew my mind when I heard. I mean, like I was listening to Metallica when I was like my twin brother was obsessed with Metallica when he was like 5 in like 1991 or something. So like I knew that stuff, so it was kind of like normal. But when I first heard Megadeth the first time, it blew my mind. So I probably bought this in 2000 or 2001 on CD. And my initial reaction at the time, I'll be honest, is I heard Cryptic Writings before this already. So the way it worked back in the days, as you guys know, you had to go to the record store, the CDs. They didn't have every Megadeth CD, so I, get the first one, and then when I had enough money, I'd go back, and all they had was, Euthanasia. So I didn't have the context to be like, like how did the band progress at the time. So I remember, I think I got like the first 4 ones. That was easy. They're always in stock. And then I think I jumped around trying to find the next ones. And I had Cryptic Writings. I think I had that. So when I got Risk, it wasn't that crazy of a departure. Like my mind wasn't blown, because there's a lot of similarities with the albums, like the softer elements, the non-metal albums, non-metal elements. So I definitely did not like it at all. But like I didn't think it was this grand change. Where I thought Cryptic Writings, there's a lot of similar elements, except this one's got the crazy industrial stuff. I do have a memory, and I got it for you. So when I first got into Megadeth, I had birthday money. So I was like, this is when the internet, I was like, oh man, I'm going to buy myself some Megadeth shirts, And I didn't know about how bad this album was, I just thought it was cool. So I dug it out of the basement for you, man. I still bought this shit. Look at this. This is from.
You should wear that when you.
No, I can't. No, because I was going to wear it. I was gonna wear it, but then I was like, "You guys are gonna put this shit on the internet, looking like I'm claiming this album."
You'll be on
I have a super collider shirt.
Nice, yeah. Well, see, the funny
but
thing is,
I don't have a Risk shirt. I have a super collider one. I'll wear that if we ever do that.
I actually got 2 Megadeth Risk shirts, because the funny thing, I'll never forget this. I think I had like $50 to spend, and I got 2 Risk shirts because they were like $8, and I was like, I can't believe I'm getting such a deal. I guess no, so nobody wanted to buy these shirts. I swear to God, I think I wore this once, and it's been sitting in my whatever. So yeah, that was my story. I didn't like it, and I'll be honest, it didn't like I wasn't disgusted because it was kind of like cryptic writings to me. I think I bought it, maybe listened to once or twice, and then I was just, listening to every other metal band. Like I had so much to choose from back, when I was just getting into it that I was like, whatever, this one I'll throw in the garbage and not too bad. But I do think I guess we'll go back into it later what I think now about it, but that was my initial reaction.
Yeah, sure, man. So that leaves me. So back in 1999, I was everything that Justin hates. I was that dude with the baggy pants and the chains, and I did it all for the Nookie. And yeah, back in 1999, I was super into new metal. So the only song I remember from this album, honestly, was "Crush 'Em," and it was because it was in a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. So for kids, for those of you that don't know Jean-Claude Van Damme, he used to do martial arts movies, and in every movie you get to see his ass. So yeah, like I tell you, every movie Jean-Claude is there's a shot. Like there could be a beautiful woman next to him, but no, you need the shot of Jean-Claude's ass. And I think this song was in Universal Soldier, I think too. I think it was in
It's Universal Soldier 2: The Return. I actually have that soundtrack on CD. I have it over there somewhere. I bought it at like a used CD store for like maybe $2 or something. I think that was the first time I heard Crush 'Em.
Yeah, they probably
Yeah.
they're like, you really want this? Like, and on that movie there was a wrestler called Goldberg, and apparently they used that song "Crush 'Em" when he went to fight. So they used that song. But that song, to me, it's an interesting song that we'll talk about, because like it's called "Crush 'Em," but it sounds like it's gonna get promising. But then that they get that guitar part that it sounds like disco, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, like the song is called "Crush 'Em," no dance, no dance with me, or something like that. So yeah, that's the first thing I heard from it, and I remember it had two alternate covers, because they did the cover where I used the alternate one, and this album, I think I never bought it. I illegally downloaded it. So I didn't spend back in those days. I really had to think about buying an album. So
I think I had the original cover. I think it was the white hairless cat. I think, right?
yeah, there's like two covers from it, but yeah, the one that is most on the streaming is this one, which I think it's kind of lame, because where's Big, there's this Risk and this mouse. I don't know. It's kind of like a lame cover. But yeah, so yeah, those were my initial impressions. I just remember that song, and going back to this, I didn't remember any of these songs except "Crush 'Em." So I went with it like listening to a new album, almost. So those are my first impressions. So now we're going to the second round, where we're gonna pick. For this one, we can pick 4 songs. So JC, what songs for you are the weakest?
Okay, I'm going to start with what we're talking about. I'm going to consider "Enter the Arena" and "Crush 'Em" the same song, because I don't. Why did they split into 2 songs in the first place? I mean, it's basically the same song.
It's like an intro.
Yeah, but it's. But I mean, like, there's no reason. Like, it's not like an intro track. It's like the first 30 seconds of the song, and they just called it something different.
Yeah.
But "Crush 'Em," like we were saying, yeah, it was on that Universal Soldier soundtrack. That's where I heard it first, and it was used for a couple of other things. It was used for like wrestling. It was used for like wrestling. I think it was like intended for like a hockey anthem.
Yeah,
I think like just right there, and then they did like the 2000 remastered edition, includes the "Crush 'Em" with Jock Nicks, which I didn't even like listen to that like when I revisited this album, because I didn't want to. But this one, it's just too like new metal. It's just like, I don't think like it doesn't work as like a sports song. It just like, I think it's just not a good song at all. It's just kind of like just just kind of a, we're gonna be using the word cheesy a lot. So that's the word we use. It's just cheesy. So my second pick is gonna be Breadline. This is just a dumb title, first of all. It's just I think it's basically like a homeless person who has no life and he's waiting on the bread line. But I mean, like, what is a bread line? Is that like the thing that like they used to have back in the Great Depression? Like people used to wait on the bread line. And I mean, it's just a dumb title. It's a power ballad, alternative rock power ballad. It just, I mean, it's a little catchy, but it's just not a great song. Um, I think most of my songs I don't like are like in the middle. The Doctor is Calling. That one, it's again, they're going for like this alternative rock, kind of like the psychedelic little sections there. It's a song about, I think, somebody going insane. So another one, they're trying for that. Yeah, they're trying to make these like catchy type of like almost like alternative or new metal songs that are radio friendly. What was, back in 1999, all those like bands that were on the radio, and it was those like, I'm talking about like Fuel and those types of those like kind of like butt rock bands. So they were on the radio, so I think they were going for that. And I picked one more, I'll Be There. Another one, it's just like another ballad. I guess the lyrics supposedly it's about like I think when he converted to Christianity, it's about like finding Jesus. There's been, I guess, other interpretations of that one, but another one, I think it was just going for that like radio friendly sound, but I think this is the one that also has some of that like new wave, like Depeche Mode, like elements in it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, these songs are very cheesy. I don't say I hate them. I just say like the weakest part of the album is like that middle section with like those four songs. That's in my opinion. But I'll let you guys
Yeah.
go next. Yeah.
Yeah, that song, I'll Be There. When I was listening to that song, first I thought, I don't know why, I had that Friends song, I'll be there for you.
Yeah, the Bon Jovi song.
No, there's two I'll Be There's. The I'll Be There, the Friends sound, the song. And you know what?
Oh,
That
the
is
the Friends theme, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bon Jovi, I'll Be There for You is way better than that song. It's a way better, and I thought when I read the title, I'm like, I wonder if it's a Bon Jovi cover, like I'll be there for you, these 5 words, but no, he's like I'll be there, and there's so many songs with I'll Be There when you think of it. So
yeah,
we could name like
he
5
came up
songs
with
with
different.
that title. But yeah, good picks, my man. So Justin, what 4 songs do you load the most, hate the most?
It's funny because I picked almost the same songs. I'll Be There. I kind of like the intro. Like it definitely has like a total like Depeche Mode kind of vibe, which I dig Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
And of that era,
Right.
if you were gonna pick like one of the kind of standout bands that aged well, I think that would be one of them. This obviously did not. But I absolutely hated like in the bridge of the song. Dave likes to, he likes to revisit old songs and like he thinks he's being really clever. But when he's like, in my hour of need, you were there. It's like, just fucking kill me, man. This is so fucking terrible. Um, so that was one. Wanderlust actually really chapped my ass. It was hard to sit through that one. It sounded like a Kenny Wayne Shepherd song with like a stolen Ugly Kid Joe guitar riff. Like a weird Nashville, like telly sounding guitar solo that was buried so far in the mix that like you could barely hear it. And the song itself, my biggest gripe was that it was like 3 minutes longer than it had to be. It was like 2 parts. The song was like 5.5, 6 minutes long. Just miserable to sit through. Redline, great pick. Horrible song, terrible chorus. All I could think the whole time I was listening to him sing about a bread line for like what felt like an eternity was that if this was the first album of his career, he would be standing in a fucking bread line. It was terrible. And then yeah, I had to include the Jock Jam remix. It was just so bad, so dumb, so weird. I don't understand what he was trying to accomplish with that. But so if we're including bonus tracks, I did force myself to listen to the entire thing, like the whole remaster, including the remixes, and that was just so bizarre to me that I don't even know. I have no idea where that was supposed to go. I guess if it was supposed to go for hockey or wrestling walkouts or whatever, I guess that would make more sense. But like even the beat was bad. Like it sounds like a kid made it on like a Casio keyboard. It's not like well produced or anything. And they
You
had
know,
certainly figured
Justin,
out how to make beats by then, so I don't know.
that's how reggaeton is made. Like with a so yeah, that those songs, you know, breadline, that's what we you call here in Puerto Rico. Instead of a breadline, we go to the panaderia to get the bread. Yeah, Mark knows because his wife is Puerto Rican, so he knows what the panaderia is.
Yeah.
But yeah, four solid picks. So Mark, what songs do you pick?
Yeah, so I would say excellent choices so far. Picking out of these, I got some. So it's interesting. I would to review this album, right? And I was like, all right, do I listen to this like it's a Megadeth album? I think you can't, like, because there's really nothing there. Like, there's no speed. I think Insomnia is the fastest song, and that's like mid-tempo. There's no crazy guitar. I think there's one good guitar solo on the whole album. The rest are just these boring, like blues, like shit that you do because your fingers are cold. You're like, all right, let me just play something like one take. So it was very hard for me to be like, you can't review this. Like, I mean, you can review it as a Megadeth album, but like, I just think you're missing the point. Like, I think you got to review. And I read something that Dave said that he said that like if well, there's two things. One, he said he should have called this a solo project.
Yeah,
I don't know how that would have made this any better. Um, but he did say this other thing, which I kind of found interesting. Maybe there's a little bit more merit to it, but I still think there's zero merit to it. He said if they like would have if this came out under some other band or some other name, it would have done well. You know what I mean? It'd be well received. And I don't think that's true at all. I think honestly, if there's two or three songs on here that I think like if Dave Mustaine wrote these songs and was trying to sell them to some kind of alternative pop group and they like magically twisted it, there could be something there. But I think most of these songs, I don't think like they're badly written songs. I just think that there's two major flaws I thought with this album. One is lack of subtlety. So going into that, yeah, let's start with I agree with JC. Enter the arena and crush them. So this made me fucking laugh on this one because I was thinking the same thing. Like, why is there an intro track for Crush 'em when it's literally like the same thing, right? So
well, he
I
wanted
did
them to know that you're going to enter the arena to crush them.
yeah. So and that the lack of subtlety amazed me on this. I literally laughed because on two things. One, I already knew that that was intended for. I think was it the Predators and I think it was the national some hockey team or the Arizona Phoenix Coyote. What the hell's their name? I forgot. Some hockey team. I remembered that it was for like a hockey arena.
Let me check.
I think it was because I think they lived in Arizona. I think it was Phoenix Wild. Is that their name? I forgot the name of the team. Someone's got to remember. But the funniest thing I thought about Crush 'em was so Dave wrote it on purpose to be like an arena sports song, but they added crowd chants to it. I'm like, the whole point of a sports song is to get people to go like, I'm like, why would you add that to the fucking track? It's like the literally. So I don't know. I'm like thinking of like Gary Glitter.
I read that he wanted to do like he was sick of going to games and hearing Gary Glitter, but then you go and do the same shit that he does.
Well, no, but if you listen to that Gary Glitter song, there's no crowd noise. It's just one guy going, hey, you know what I mean? Like this is the whole like it's a piped in like Kiss Alive 3 crowd sound. Like how like non-subtle could you be? So that made me laugh. So Enter the Arena, Crush 'em definitely. And I did Crush 'em was the only track I remembered off this album.
Like me.
Yeah, the other I'll say, yeah, I wouldn't go into much of it because you guys already said it. Breadline, I just thought was like, I can't believe this existed. I think it's Breadline has a theremin in it. It's this weird like, and it reminds me of the movie Austin Powers. Do you remember the cutscenes? Like in Austin Powers, like,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like, it's the same. It blew my mind. So that was bad. And I guess the other, I'll say I don't think this was the top three worst songs, but listening to the album, I was like, oh my god, like how not subtle could they be? Like, one of the major points of this album is like, Dave just keeps like, if you would have sang a little bit less or been a little more in the back, maybe it would have been salvaged. But in the song Seven, so some people think Seven's one of the better songs. I was listening to Seven, and let me just pull it up here. It's almost 5 minutes. I was like, all right, it's about the seven deadly sins. I was like, I just know at the end of this song, he's gonna list all seven sins in that voice. Like he's gonna say, pride, gluttony. I was like, please don't do it. And he does it. And I was like, oh man. He says all of them, like, like, and then the next one is wrath. And I'm like, oh man.
And he missed an opportunity because at the end he should have been like, what's in the box?
Yeah.
If anyone's seen Seven. Like
of course. Yeah. So those were my worst three, just like the lack of subtlety. Like they just like were hitting. I couldn't did like when I was like, they did a sports arena song and already added the arena noises. It cracked me up. So those are my three choices for the worst tracks on this album.
Yeah, you can pick a bonus one, a fourth one.
All right, bonus one I thought was we'll go. I think everybody said it. Yeah, I would say it's a Wanderlust. I just think that the one that's kind of country-ish, or is that yeah? I was just like, once again, it sounded like, all right, Dave, did you write this to sell this to someone because it makes sense? But like, why would you put it out? I have no idea.
He was probably channeling increased gains and Garth Brooks, and he's like, oh, Wanderlust. Oh, I'm so edgy, so country. I'm telling you, this album, it's I just remember Crush 'Em. So if I have a different songs that you guys haven't picked because I fucking hate Insomnia. Because the singing is atrocious. He's like, I can't sleep. I'm like, take a fucking Ambien.
My thing is, I was gonna say Insomnia, but I gotta be honest, like, since that shit is in my head. Like, I'll be like washing dishes and it's like Insomnia. I'm like,
Insomnia. Yeah.
So like, I don't know if it's like what is that, Stockholm syndrome, where I'm like, I'm starting to like just look because it's like taking me hostage. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, but the way that he sings over and over Insomnia, and then he lets you know that he can't sleep. I'm like, I fucking know what insomnia means. Like, I'm like, do you think we're stupid? Like, if you don't know what insomnia is, he's like, I can't sleep. And it's just atrocious as an opener. So I picked that one. And then I picked The Doctor Is Calling because I even have a joke for this. I'm like, he should have named this song Lars Is Calling. It would have been like, Daddy, Lars is calling. And then at the end, he would have been like, am I back in the band? And they're like, no. we just called you so you give us the rights, the copyrights for the first album, and we're gonna make a documentary and you're gonna cry on it. So yeah. But so yeah, That Doctor Is Calling. He's like, the doctor's calling, and just the singing alone, he sounded like he was half awake, like very lazy singing. And I never thought that, Dave Mustaine's not a great singer. He's got like Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins. He's got a like acquired taste. Like sometimes when he's those high shrieks, like, I don't know, I'm gonna get a migraine. Even though I love Megadeth, but he's singing, you have to be in the mood for Mustaine singing, because he's got that, when you listen to him, his nose, and he sounds lazy on that one. I picked Breadline because I just thought it sounded like a horrible country song, and I'm Puerto Rican. I've never met a Puerto Rican who likes country music. There has to be some, but I don't know, if you're Puerto Rican, you like country music, something's wrong with you. We have our own. We have our own type of music that is. I'm sorry, but it's better. So yeah, I hate country music, and I just thought the title Breadline, and yeah, it's about him trying to get bread. So it's maybe he wanted to do like maybe he thought they were gonna do like an Oliver Twist movie, and he's like, oh, I'll sell this to Oliver Twist, and yeah, Crush 'Em, yeah, Crush 'Em. When it sounds like it's gonna be Crush 'Em, it's gonna be hard, and then he goes like, and he's like, Crush 'Em, and they have the Crush 'Em. So maybe he wrote this for the arena, but maybe he was thinking of crushing Metallica. He's like, this is gonna be the song. I'm gonna show them. So yeah, I know it's just weird. It's a weird song. I agree. The halfback of the album is like a country music record, and even Prince of Darkness, I thought it was kind of corny when he's like, there's a part he's like a Prince of Dark, and he goes like Satan, or like it's me, the devil. I'm like, okay. I'm like, he has to really like point out the obvious. So I thought it was kind of cheesy. There's a lot of cheese on this album, but yeah, those are my picks. So we're here in the third and final round, where we give our final thoughts and analysis, and we rate it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So JC, final thoughts?
So, okay, I might be the only one, but I'm giving it a thumbs up, because despite the songs we talked about, there's some stuff I actually like. Insomnia, I really like that song. I mean, lyrics super cheesy, I understand, but it's a super catchy song. I enjoy it a lot. Prince of Darkness, another one. I really like that song. I think like the first two songs is like the closest like it is to metal, not thrash, but it's like that, like maybe new metal, like alternative metal, but I think those like the only the two songs where you do like get like distortion in the guitars and stuff. I like Prince of Darkness. I think it's a really great song. Now, the next songs which I talk about were my least favorite: Enter the Arena, Crush 'Em, Breadline, Doctor's School, and I'll Be There. Wanderlust, I don't hate them. I mean, I can like get through them, like if I listen to this album, but I think it doesn't, like, I don't hate them enough to give it a thumbs down, because I like the first two songs, and I like, nobody mentioned Time the Beginning and Time the End. I think those are actually like pretty good songs, even though it's like a two-part song. I mean, like the first part, like with the acoustic guitars, you got some like symphonic stuff on there, and it's one of those songs that like other bands did it. I know, like I'm thinking like Pantera with like Suicide Note 1 and 2, like where like the first part is soft and the second part is like a little heavier. But Time the End, the second part, I really like it. Like that guitar riff is really awesome. It's like this, like almost like this, like Black Sabbath-y style kind of like guitar riff. I really like that one, and I think just like the first two songs and the last two songs are going to be enough for me to save it, because I don't like 8 songs in the middle. So thumbs up for me. I'm not saying it's a great album, but I mean, I think it's just enough for a thumbs up. So let me see if I'm the only one.
I think I know what Justin's gonna say, but Justin.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a musician, I think every musician will tell you, we all have like one album, one project, one something that like we wish we could run back, the one that we kind of don't want to put our name on for the rest of our lives. And I bet that for Dave Mustaine, I bet this is probably that project, if he was to be honest. I think that the biggest failure with this album is really just Dave is not a strong enough vocalist to carry this style of music. I think he was trying to do music, follow the trends. And at the time, you had guys like Chris Cornell. You just had these amazing vocalists that they could get away with these kind of like tamer songs because the vocalist could really carry it. I just don't think Dave's that guy. I think Dave is like you said, an acquired taste. He can do cool vocals in context, but he's not a singer. No one's ever going to accuse the guy of being a great singer. So I think it just fell flat. In the big scheme of things, like they're going to be a legendary band no matter what. But when the best of your catalog is like at the very, very top of the genre, and you put this thing out, which is arguably at the bottom, I gotta give it a thumbs down. Can't pass it.
Yeah. What about you, Mark?
So I'll give it two. I'll judge it two ways. So as a Megadeth record, it's definitely a thumbs down for me. I will say one thing, like even though kind of dogging on a little bit, I do even if I think an album's terrible or and someone still put this out, they put effort into it, they believed in it. So like Justin was saying, it's not fun when you release something that someone thinks is bad. It really, I'm sure it hurts their feelings. So I will what I guess I will say, and I don't think this was successful at all, but unlike Metallica, who with the Load and Reload, which I do think the Load and Reload albums are better than this is way more of a risk than those albums, in my opinion. For the one thing is this, I thought like some of the tracks on Load and Reload, I won't even name them because I can't remember it, but they're still pretty heavy. Like they're like more groove metal and Sabbathy. Like I can think of like 2x4 has got some heavy riffs. This
Outlaw
is not
Torn.
heavy. What's that?
The Outlaw Torn, I think, is got some heavy, and it's
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a few like Fixer, shit like that's got some riffs. This is not heavy at all. I think JC's right. It's not really a metal record. Megadeth is known for, if you're a Megadeth guy over Metallica and like your diehard Megadeth, they're known for their, super ace guitar playing, just frenetic speed, a little more rawness. There's no rawness, there's no speed, there's no crazy guitar playing. In fact, I think the guitar, I can't believe this is Dave Mustaine and Marty Friedman fucking playing these solos. It's like, and there's like funk parts and really soft acoustic parts that are not even interesting. That's so I will say that it's a way bigger risk than what Metallica did. And actually, even most of the '90s thrash bands, who like Testament, Exodus, when they put out different stuff, way this is way more out there than those. So I definitely give it a thumbs down for a Megadeth record. So when I was reviewing, and I knew that back when I heard it, but so I'm trying to judge it now. And when I listened to it this week, I'm like, all right, well, if I view this like not as Megadeth and just based on songwriting, like what do I think? And I'm still gonna give it a thumbs down. I think like to me this like could have like Dave I think Dave and I think Justin, that was one thing I was gonna say, like what I found fascinating about it, and once again, I really don't think anything could have saved this record because I don't think I think most of the songs are boring, So like, I'm not a fan of industrial, but one thing I was surprised at, everybody talks about this record. It's not that crazy industrial. Like, there's only a few, and they're kind of backing elements. You know what I mean?
I didn't hear anything industrial in this record, to be honest.
Yeah, I
And
mean, Insomnia's got the intro, but like nothing, yeah, like nothing was like, I was expecting like Danzig's industrial stuff where it's really forward, or Marilyn Manson or Nine Inch Nails. So I think people who judge this album thinking like it's some '90s trying to be new metal, like I think that's totally wrong. Like the country stuff surprised me. A lot of it's like just alternative pop rock. Like I was like, sounds like they're trying to be Days of the New or something. I'm like, oh, this is not what people say it is. Um, but where I was going with this is what I was so surprised at is they took all these risks and stripped Megadeth down, got rid of the flashy guitar playing the speed. But what's weird to me is, like Justin said, Dave is still singing like he's singing 99 Ways to Die. He's like going like, he's really singing aggressively and menacingly. And like a lot of these songs are so soft. I'm like, it's a total juxtaposition. It's a clash. So I say the only so I do like Prince of Darkness as a song. I don't like it as like a Megadeth song. I would love to see someone else do something with it. And then the only other song that I besides Insomnia, which I didn't really enjoy, but I think it's just infected my brain at this point. I kind of enjoyed Time the End. I thought that was a little bit of a chuggier riff. Maybe it's just because it was the last song on the album, and I was like, oh, okay, this is like the heaviest riff. So overall, thumbs down on both ends. I honestly think Dave should have sold this album to like alternative writers or pop stars, like, and they could have done something. Like, actually, I was thinking while I heard, like, wow, I think some of these songs would benefit from like a female vocalist. Like, I was thinking, like, oh, you take Prince of Darkness or Insomnia, and like Insomnia sounds like it's a shitty Garbage song. Like, if Garbage did it, like,
Hey, I like Garbage.
No. Like, no, I like Garbage. I'm saying it sounds like it's a bad song that Garbage would put out. That's what I'm saying. So like if Garbage wrote that song, it would be awesome, I think. So that's where I get with it. I think that like this could be saved for parts if it was a car, but I don't think there's much to it. And I think I'm being a little more gracious than it deserves, to be honest.
No, you're very analytical. That's why we do this
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, we can't just shit on it. You know, it's someone's
no.
baby. But I think you gotta call a spade, and I'm just like, it's pretty bad. If it's Megadeth, you're just like. But once again, and I'll stop talking. People are acting like this was like the biggest like you know when Metallica did Load from Black Album, that was a big tonal shift. Like Cryptic Writings is not so much different than this album, in my opinion. So I don't know why people are shocked when they hear this album. So I don't know.
Yeah, the last Megadeth album I listened to before that was Euthanasia. So I didn't listen to Cryptic Writings. I just listened to the because I'm sorry, I was doing the new metal shit, and I was listening to that shit instead of that other thing. So for me, when I listened to this album, because it sounded more, and I read that this should have been like a Dave Mustaine solo project, or I agree with what Mark says, that he could have sold some songs to different people, because it sounds disjointed. To me, this sounded, I know JC is like, oh, it's an alternative, but to me, like half of this album is a country fucking record, and I fucking hate country music. So yeah, and Dave's voice does not go with this. If James Hetfield sings some of the songs, they will sound better, because James Hetfield has a voice that, like, he can do like something with more like country rock in it. That sounds cool, but he could sell this song to Aaron Lewis from Stained, so he can have more of this crappy country music to sing about. But yeah, as an album, as a Megadeth album, thumbs down. And as a Dave Mustaine solo project, it's like a good effort, but also thumbs down. Yeah, I thought it was a boring record. I was like listening to it like I did, like Justin said, that you said, like I had to like listen to it like through tiny bits. Like
yeah, it took like 3 sessions to get through it. I never did successfully from start to finish listen to the entire album in one sitting. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think I even was listening to it with my car and my kids, and they're like, "Can you put like some other music?" And I kid you not, I changed it to like cartoon music, and I'm like, "Oh, I want to listen to this better." But yeah, it's just a weird album, and I don't think it's aged well. And I was watching a Dave Mustaine interview, and he's saying that this is the album that he hates the more, even though I remember Super Collider from 2013 is also not that great, but remembering, at least it sounds like Megadeth. This one sounds like different. So yeah, I would think this would be their worst album. And he said on an interview also that Crush 'Em is the worst song that he's ever written. So I looked it up, and he says that that's the worst Megadeth song. And yeah, he wanted to sell it to arenas. So make no mistake, that song was just pure like clickbait for it to be played in arenas. And I never heard it in an arena. I went to baseball. I listened to Give It Away Now, played at like baseball games, and of course other stuff. We Will Rock You. But those are songs that they didn't write them intentionally to be played at that. But when you write a song, like you're like, please play it. It just sounds needy. So yeah, those are our final thoughts. So you have it. JC tried to save it, but we said no, JC. We are not saving Risk. So at the end, Dave Mustaine, you did it. I applaud Dave Mustaine for. I agree with Mark. He took a bigger risk than Metallica. This is the thrash metal band that took the biggest risk on this album, because it's a totally different sound, but at the end it failed.
And I'll applaud JC for taking a risk and giving a thumbs up, man.
Yeah,
it's
and to be on your side, JC, I don't find it that offensive. Like if someone put this in the car and be like, are we really gonna listen to this? But like I've heard like a lot worse where I go, you gotta get this.
Oh no. Believe me, we have covered very worse albums on this.
I mean, I've been on I guess every episode pretty much of this series. It's been going on for like 2 years, and we've talked about a lot worse. I mean, there's the 6 Feet Under album. There's even like Metallica's Saint Anger. I mean, there was so many albums that like I couldn't get through. This one, it just something about it just has that. I don't know. I guess it's that kind of cheesiness, but it's listenable for me. So
Yeah.
that's why I say it.
Yeah, I know. I rather listen to this album than Roger Waters' new version of Dark Side of the Moon. And
Yeah.
because that to me was just an insult. So we want to know, obviously, from you people, the viewers, what do you think of Megadeth-Risk? What are your least favorite songs, or what songs do you actually like from this record? And if you had to rank it in a Megadeth like discography, where would you rank this? Because I heard some conflicting saying that Super Collider is worse, but I don't know. I think this one's worse. So if you haven't, please subscribe to JC Rock and Metal Reviews. He's got great reviews, and he reviews all type of metal, rock, and he's great with history. He'll give you a history lesson, and he'll if there's some bad punctuation on the songs, he will correct you and on where you went wrong. So subscribe to him. He's a lot on this channel. So there's a lot of videos, collaborations that I've done on his channel, on my channel. So subscribe to him. And if you haven't listened to Workers or Electrocutioner, I'm gonna put the YouTube links of the bands so you can listen to the bands. Both bands put out albums last year. And I think I know that you guys are both touring, right? You have shows planned.
Yep, shows after shows.
Yeah, Electrocutioner is actually gonna play with a band from Puerto Rico called
That's right,
Fulminator in a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you see them, said that Hector said hi.
Yeah, I already told them on Instagram. Yeah, March 9th, St. Thrastrix Fest. It's a St. Patty's Day fest headlined by Massacre and Agent Steel. But yeah, Fulminator, the boys from Puerto Rico, will be there. So we'll give them a warm welcome for you.
Yeah. We have a great metal scene here in Puerto Rico. So yeah, it's cool that they're crossing over and they have a great show. So Electrocutioner False Idols is the name of the album that they put out last year. I didn't review it. Our friend the Green Man reviewed it, but I did interview Mark on the channel. I'll post a link for that interview. And I did review Workers last album, and I also interviewed Justin. And again, Justin, I gotta congratulate you on your hair, man. Your hair is always like I'm like, send me what you use for your hair, because it's always intact.
I'll send it, man. I'll send you some links.
So yeah, and the album, their album is also great as well. So support them, and you guys are on tour right now, or gonna be playing shows, right?
We're getting ready to announce that. I can't let the cat out of the bag today or I'll get in trouble. But yeah, we'll be out. Spring's already lined up. We're going to be doing some big festivals. So yeah, coming soon. Keep an eye on the page. Keep an eye on the socials.
Yeah. So we want to know, do you want more musicians to guest on the show? I know that we had on the Pink Floyd, we had Greg from Drift Into Black, which is a doom metal band. He joined, and now we have 2 more musicians. So I'm trying to bring more musicians. So when in the comments they're like, you don't play an instrument. And I'm like, I know, I never claimed to play an instrument, but I can talk about music. They're like, you poser. But we have actual musicians here rating. So the next episode, I don't know, I think it's gonna be for 9 Inch Nails, The Slip. And for that one, I think I'm gonna be doing it with Mary's Taste in Music. She's a YouTuber from England. She's got a great channel. So it's good. So we can get some female opinions on this one. And probably the Green Man will join too. And that will be coming soon. And we're going to have more Is It That Bad this year. So until next time, people, we'll see you on the next episode of Is It That Bad? And this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a Couch. And I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.